Alright, so I'm going to give a quick tutorial on how to play Beast Mastery Hunter spec. A lot of people have just gotten a new 90 class, and for the people that picked Hunter, this should be a pretty good guide on how to get started as Beast Mastery. Survival is a really good spec as well, but some people just prefer Beast Mastery. Beast Mastery has higher single target, so for whatever reason you're playing Beast Mastery, this should get you going. So for your Tier 15 talent, you're going to want to use Crouching Tiger, Hidden Chimera. The cooldown reduction on deterrence is really useful. It allows you to bypass more mechanics. You can make more mistakes and get away with it. It's just really useful. There's not a whole lot of use in narrow escape in PvE, and the move speed on post haste isn't that necessary because as a hunter you should always be in a relatively good position as you have 100% uptime on boss while moving. So the only fight I use post haste on is Heroic Thok. For your level 30 talent, Binding Shot is pretty much what I use on every fight. Very rarely I will switch to Wyvern Sting, but generally this tier doesn't matter too much, so you can use whatever floats your boat, whatever your group wants you to use. They're all pretty much the same impact. For your level 45 talent, I use Aspect of the Iron Hawk as the default. There are some fights where Spirit Bond is pretty good, where there's constant AoE damage going out, like Malkarok, Iron Juggernaut, Black Fuse, stuff like that. But generally I use Aspect of the Iron Hawk. For your level 60 talent, you are pretty much always going to use Dire Beast. It just does a crap load of damage. You don't spam multi-shot, you don't need Thrill of the Hunt, you don't need Burst Focus, and Dire Beast just does a crap ton of damage comparative. So Dire Beast is definitely the best in this tree. And in level 75 talent, Blink Strikes is the same thing. The only time I will not use Blink Strikes is on a Mercius, because of where I'm positioned when my guild does the fight. Blink Strikes actually teleports the pet behind the boss, so if the boss is facing in the wrong direction, my pet will blink outside of his tether range and will despawn, so that sucks. So I just go Crows on a Mercius. It's not too big of a DPS loss, but it does add an extra button to your rotation. But it's not too bad. You can get used to it pretty quickly, and it's just for one fight. You can still use Blink Strikes depending on where you get positioned by your guild or in your pug. And for your level 90 talent, you are going to use Glaive Toss single target and Barrage multi-target. There's pretty much no point using Power Shot unless you need a knockback for whatever reason. Maybe on Nazgrim if you guys are having a lot of trouble with kiting assassins, but Power Shot is pretty useless this tier. So that's going to be your basic set for your talents. Alright, after we go through our talents, we are going to head over to the glyphs. And I would always recommend using Animal Bond and Deterrence. Hunters don't have that great of glyphs all around. The 10% healing is really nice, so I would always use Animal Bond. And the 20% baseline reduction on Deterrence increases it to a flat 50%. And there are quite a few mechanics that will go through the 100% mitigation of deterrence, and dots that are already applied to you go through that. So the 50% baseline mitigation is really useful. So I would always recommend deterrence as well. And then for your third slot, I use disengage. I see some people use liberation. 5% heal is nice. I just prefer the extra distance on disengage. That's up to you. And there are some others you can use, I guess, depending on what's going on with your group. But I generally feel like liberation and disengage are your only two viable options. And I just prefer the extra range. And then your miners are pretty useless, so whatever you want to go with there, it's on you. Alright, so after we are done with our talents and our glyphs, we are going to go into the static priorities for Hunter. You're going to want to start off by getting hit and expertise capped, which is 7.5% or 2,550 rating on the dot. You generally don't want to be too far over, and you definitely don't want to be under. As you can see, I'm a little above expertise and hit. It's pretty hard to get the exact 7.5%. So just get as close as you can and don't go under. After that, you are going to want to focus on agility mostly, and then for lower item levels, you are going to want to go crit haste mastery, and then when you are pretty geared, you can go haste mastery crit, which is currently what I am doing. For your gems, like I said, you're going to just go hard agility. In your split blues, you're going to go agility hit. I don't have any oranges, unfortunately, but in your oranges, you're going to use deadly vermilion onyx, which is agility and crit. And in the highers, you're going to use, I believe, adept, which is agility and haste. Until you get your legendary meta gem, you can use the, I believe it's 216 agility with 3% critical damage for your meta until then. For your enchants, it's pretty basic stuff. Crit to cloak, stats to chest, agility to bracers, haste to gloves, your leatherworking enchant, and then agility and move speed to your boots. And you're going to use a Lord Blastington Scope of Doom on your weapon. You're going to use agility on your ranks if you're enchanting. I'm engineering, so the synapse springs are very strong. Then you'd use 500 agility if you were leatherworking, and so on and so forth, depending on what professions you have. I would recommend getting engineering if you have not picked them up yet. I'm currently engineering jewel crafting, but that's up to you. I definitely think engineering skills are the hardest, though, for hunters. Okay, once you have all of that set up, you're ready to start playing your hunter pretty much. If you are going to test your hunter just to see what kind of damage you're doing, I 100% recommend coming to Orgrimmar. If you try the dummies out in Shrine, there is a fence behind the dummies, and your pet will blink strike behind the target dummy and actually get bugged and will not cast or auto attack. So if you think your damage is really low because you're doing it in Shrine, it is because your pet is bugging out. So I have to come all the way to Org just to hit dummies. You probably will too. Start off any encounter. If you have an open global, like the boss doesn't like immediately start the fight, like Klaxi, you always want to open it up with Hunter's Mark. Your main shots will apply it, but it's just best to open with it if it's not going to cost you a global in the fight. You are going to want to use pretty much everything on cooldown. Your highest priority cast is going to be your kill command. You're going to want to glaive toss on cooldown as well, and dire beast on cooldown. Your kill shot is your second highest priority until you get very high gear. When you're pretty well geared, your kill shot is going to take priority over your kill command. You are going to want to stampede on cooldown, and like I said earlier, you're going to want to pop all your cooldowns whenever they are up, unless you are fully aware of a DPS race coming up soon, like an Amber on Corvin, or whatever DPS race you need to get rid of. You want to pre-pot if you can afford it, or if you're really pressed for damage. I mean, that's up to you if you think it's worth pre-potting. I also don't macro the potion into my big macro. It gives me a bit more flexibility because you can only pop that potion once in combat. I don't recommend macroing it. I think it's much better to pop it whenever you need it because you will use this macro multiple times in a fight. And if you don't have any specific time that you need bonus damage, it's best to pop your potion during 20% or less phase to whore out your kill shots for more damage. For your opener, I always start with Serpent Sting. It's a habit. I don't even know if it's the best way to go about it, but it's just what I do. I just always open with Serpent Sting. It's just how I've played. It's probably a habit I have from playing Marksman, but I just always open with Serpent Sting. You're going to see me pop all my cooldowns. At least you're going to see me pop my macro, and then I'm going to instantly kill command, go into Glaive Toss, and then start spamming Arcane Shot. I'm going to hold off on casting Dire Beast and Stampede while Bestial Wrath is up, because they do not benefit from the half focus that Bestial Wrath gives you. So if we go find, I believe it's called Beast Within, should be a passive actually. So while it's up, as you can see at the bottom, your abilities cost 50% less. So you don't want to cast anything that does not cost focus. When you're going into when your Bestial Wrath is coming up, you want to have enough focus that you will never have to Cobra during the 10-second duration. So this is all things you want to be looking for, and there'll be things that I'm going to do in my rotation, which I'll show you guys right here. So I'll pop cooldowns, and I instantly Serpent Sting. I go into my rotation, and you can see me holding off on my skills that don't cost focus. And then as soon as they're up, I will pop them. You never want to delay your kill command. You always want to have enough focus to cast it. Your Cobra Shot will refresh your Serpent Sting. And this is basically going to be your rotation. You do have 2 haste buffs in Focus Fire and Rapid Fire, and you generally never want them to be up at the same time. As you can see here, since I'm lone focus, I'm going to pop the Dire Beast, and then go into my cooldown rotation, so that way it'll be generating my focus while I'm in Bestial Wrath, so I don't have to worry about not having enough. But as you can see, like right now, I can cast Rapid Fire, so I do. I can also cast Focus Fire, but I generally want to hold off, since leaving it up at 5 stacks has a benefit on my pet, whereas leaving the cooldown up for Rapid Fire doesn't benefit me at all. I generally want to cast Rapid Fire as soon as I can, so I can get it back on cooldown. And I'm also not going to cast Focus Fire going into a Bestial Wrath, because your pet does more damage than you, so you want to keep the attack speed on him. So as you can see, I didn't have enough focus, so I'm going to have to Cobra once here. And just depending on how much focus you have going into it, you're going to have to Cobra maybe once. You generally don't want to have to Cobra at all. I'm not used to talking while going through my rotation though this entire time, so this is a pretty basic rotation. You're gonna want to pop everything on cooldown, like I said. So it's pretty simple though. Like I'm gonna delay my kill command there for like 1 second, so I can pop Bestial Wrath before. My Dire Beast is going to sit out for a little bit, but that's fine. I can pop my focus here, and this is basically all there is. The nice thing about Hunter is you can do everything while moving. So if there's a mechanic you can do for your group that requires moving, you generally want to do it, so that way your group doesn't have to, because making your other DPS classes moves, or even worse, your healers move, is going to be bad when you could do it for free, basically. So yeah, you generally don't want to do that. But as you can see, I have this tell me when right here, telling me when my cooldowns are coming up, so I pop them whenever they're coming up soon. And since I'm going to wait for my Rapid Fire to fall before I pop my 5 stack of Focus Fire, and I'll consume it right there. And this is basically all you're going to do for your rotation. and you're just going to rinse and repeat.